In the summer of 1994, a 30-year-old hedge fund executive made a decision that would forever alter the balance of global power. Jeff Bezos walked away from a guaranteed seven-figure bonus to sell books from his garage. But this wasn't the romantic startup story the world thinks it knows. What unfolded over the next 3 decades was the most methodical destruction of traditional commerce in human history, orchestrated by a mind that had weaponized discipline into an instrument of total market domination. Most people see Amazon and think innovation. They see convenience. They see progress. What they're actually witnessing is the final form of disciplined capitalism, executed by someone who understood a fundamental truth about power that his competitors never grasped. The person willing to endure the most pain for the longest period doesn't just win. They reshape reality itself. The mythology begins with that garage in Bellevue, Washington. Bezos packing books into boxes, driving packages to the post office himself, building desks from doors and 2x4s. The media painted it as scrappy entrepreneurship. The reality was far more calculated. Every seemingly humble gesture was a deliberate choice in a grand strategy that extended decades into the future. While his competitors were optimizing for quarterly profits, Bezos was playing a game with a timeline that most human minds couldn't comprehend. Consider the door desks that became Amazon's early symbol. The story goes that Bezos wanted to save money, so employees built workstations from cheap doors and metal brackets. But this wasn't frugality, it was psychological conditioning. Every day, Amazon's workforce would sit at furniture. They'd assembled themselves from the most basic materials imaginable. The message was unmistakable. Comfort is the enemy of excellence. Luxury breeds complacency. Discipline starts with your environment, and your environment shapes your thinking. This was Bezos applying principles that military strategists and empire builders had understood for millennia. The Spartan warriors who slept on hard ground and ate black broth weren't being cruel to themselves. They were building mental toughness that would prove decisive in battle. Bezos had taken this ancient wisdom and weaponized it for modern commerce. But the true revelation of Bezos's disciplined mind came in how he treated time itself. For 7 consecutive years, Amazon lost money. 7 years. In Silicon Valley, where companies are expected to show profits within 18 months or face extinction, Bezos burned through hundreds of millions of dollars with the patience of a master chess player setting up a checkmate 20 moves in advance. This wasn't reckless spending or venture capital excess. Every dollar was a calculated investment in infrastructure, customer acquisition, and market psychology. While competitors like Barnes and Noble tried to match Amazon's prices, they were fighting a war they couldn't win because they were optimizing for the wrong time frame. Bezos understood that true market dominance requires the discipline to endure short-term losses that would bankrupt your competition's willpower long before they bankrupted your company. The most chilling display of this disciplined thinking came through Amazon's approach to customer acquisition. Bezos didn't want customers, he wanted addicts. The company's famous customer obsession wasn't about providing good service. It was about creating psychological dependency. Every feature, every algorithm, every interface element was designed to make Amazon feel not just convenient, but essential to daily existence. Prime membership represented the apex of this strategy. Bezos realized that if customers paid an annual fee up front, their psychology would change fundamentally. They would feel compelled to justify their investment by ordering more frequently. The 2-day shipping wasn't just fast delivery. It was a drug that made every other retailer feel impossibly slow. Amazon wasn't competing on price or selection anymore. They were competing on time itself. And time is the one resource that can't be manufactured or copied. But perhaps the most ruthless application of Bezos's discipline was how he engineered Amazon's corporate culture. The 14 leadership principles weren't corporate values. They were psychological programming designed to extract maximum performance from human beings. Customer obsession meant employees existed solely to serve customer needs, regardless of personal cost. Ownership meant working as if your life depended on the company's success. Insist on the highest standards gave managers license to push people beyond their breaking points in pursuit of operational perfection. The stories that emerged from Amazon warehouses read like case studies in behavioral conditioning. Workers had their bathroom breaks timed. Heat stroke in warehouses was treated as an acceptable cost of efficiency. Algorithms tracked every human movement and flagged those who failed to meet increasingly impossible productivity targets. Bezos had discovered that discipline, when systematically applied to large groups of people, could achieve levels of output that bordered on the supernatural. This wasn't cruelty for its own sake. It was the logical extension of Bezos's core philosophy, that human potential is virtually unlimited if you're willing to eliminate every inefficiency, every comfort hoard, every distraction that prevents optimal performance. He had turned Amazon into a laboratory for testing the outer limits of what disciplined systems could extract from both technology and human labor. The expansion strategy revealed another dimension of Bezos's disciplined thinking. While other tech companies chased trends and pivoted frantically, Amazon moved with the methodical precision of an apex predator. Books led to electronics. Electronics led to cloud computing. Cloud computing led to artificial intelligence. Each expansion wasn't opportunistic. It was inevitable, flowing naturally from infrastructure and capabilities that had been built with surgical precision. When Amazon entered a new market, existing players didn't just face competition, they faced extinction. The company's disciplined operational excellence, funded by years of patient capital accumulation, could underprice any competitor while delivering superior service. Amazon didn't just win market share, it made competition economically impossible. The psychological profile that emerges from studying Bezos's career reveals a mind that had trained itself to see opportunity where others saw disaster. When the dot-com bubble burst and destroyed hundreds of companies, Bezos saw a chance to acquire talent and infrastructure at discount prices. When Wall Street punished Amazon stock for missing earnings, he saw validation that he was thinking longer term than anyone else. This wasn't optimism, it was disciplined reframing, turning every setback into strategic advantage. But the most profound insight from Bezos's rise isn't about business tactics. It's about the compound effect of discipline applied consistently over decades. Most people understand discipline as willpower, the ability to resist temptation or push through difficulty. Bezos operated with a different definition entirely. For him, discipline meant subordinating everything, every decision, every relationship, every moment, to the service of a single overarching vision. Social relationships, employee welfare, public criticism, investor pressure, even personal health became variables to be optimized or eliminated based solely on their contribution to long-term market dominance. This wasn't sociopathy. It was something potentially more dangerous, the complete merger of personal identity with systematic thinking. Today, as we live our lives increasingly inside Amazon's ecosystem, ordering products with one click, storing our photos on AWS servers, asking Alexa to control our homes, we're not just using convenient services. We're living inside the fully realized vision of one man's disciplined thinking. Bezos didn't just build a company, he built the infrastructure of modern existence, and he did it by applying principles of systematic discipline that most minds couldn't sustain for even a single year, let alone 3 decades. The uncomfortable truth that emerges from studying Bezos's methods is that our economy, our culture, and our daily habits have been shaped by someone who understood discipline not as a personal virtue, but as a tool for reshaping reality itself. His success reveals something disturbing about power in the modern world. In an era of instant gratification and shortened attention spans, the person willing to think and act systematically over decades doesn't just succeed, they become inevitable. So the next time you click buy now and expect your package tomorrow, remember that you're not just completing a transaction, you're participating in the culmination of 30 years of ruthless discipline, applied by a mind that refused to accept the limitations that constrain ordinary human thinking. The question that should haunt us is this: if one person's disciplined vision can reshape civilization so completely, what does that say about the rest of us? And perhaps more troubling still, who else is out there right now quietly applying that same systematic discipline to bend the future to their will?